Has started.
They said it was at least 8.5 feet tall.
It wasn't more than
we probably locked eyes for maybe 3 seconds, and that was enough for me to just be completely scared out of my mind.
You put bait out too?
We have similar reports in Russia.
I must have watched it for about, a minute and a half.
A large something.
I couldn't explain what it was.
And that's when I saw the face peek out from behind the tree at me.
But ancient Native Americans have been recounting sightings for centuries. Sightings of creatures all the creek.
They ran into this people that they call the creek dwellers.
Since the late 1950s, local and national newspapers have recounted eyewitness reports of 6 to 8 foot tall, hairy, man-like creatures roaming the mountains of Humboldt County in Northern California.
Crystal waters flow. No reason to consider company might show. But destiny would find you where you walked across the sand to leave a world divided. Did Roger film a Bigfoot or man? Where are you now, Patty?
Well, welcome, folks. It's that time once again for the Friday evening Bigfoot Radio. And now for the Bigfoot research teams from across the country. Welcome, everyone. How is everyone doing tonight? Well, how everybody's doing tonight is one thing. I know the heat here on the California-Arizona side's coming in. It's hotter than a witch's thorax. Before we get the show started, I want to make an announcement and a little story. About 3 years ago, I reached out to Jessica Weaver, supermodel and fashion model that lived in Los Angeles, California. And she was going through, I think it was a very rare immune system disease or whatever it was. And I reached out to her and I told her I have a way that I could help her with her immune system. And I quote, and I said, for a quote, that karma would bite the fakes in the ass. What did that stupid AI do? It turned around, it flipped my words around, and it put in it when I sent it off, because I looked at it before I sent it off, and I'm like, wait a minute, that ain't supposed to say that. It quote and said that karma would bite her in the ass. And I'm like, no, that ain't supposed to say that. So I tried to go in and delete it, but it was too late. It was already sent. And I'm thinking to myself here, oh my God, I hope she doesn't take that the wrong way. She could at least tell me or write me and say, what do you mean by that? Can you please explain? No, she didn't do that. She blocked me here on the spot, even after I paid for it. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that stupid AI did that. Now, Chris, let me ask you something. Have you ever had an AI do that to you before, twist your words around?
Well, to be honest, I don't mess with it, and no.
It has not occurred with my life.
Okay, but here's the thing I'm trying to get to. Have you ever tried that text as you speak?
Yes.
And does it work right?
Not generally with me. It's always like
It switches your
pressing
words
the
around?
words. Yeah.
That's what it did to me. It switched my words around. That's why I said I don't like AIs. I never will. And when those damn things take over our country, like you said, in the next 10 to 15 years, all of mankind is going to be screwed and tattooed. Well, I'm not going to say tattooed. That's an understatement. But we will all be screwed. Other than that, I'm making an apology and amends out there to Jessica Weaver. That was not supposed to come out that way as it sounded.
Well, how you know she's listening, or how's she going to get it?
Because I sent her a page, or what do you call it, the YouTube page, where she could listen to it online, where I can make the apology to her, where she can listen to it. But every time I go to send her the page so she can listen to it, get this, she keeps blocking me on Instagram. No matter what profile I bring up, she blocks me. Don't get me wrong, Jessica, if you're listening, but that kind of sends the wrong message out to people when you block people. It really does. What do you think, Chris?
I think it's pretty bad when they do that. That means they're stuck up.
Well, you're a model kind of like shit, I'm forgetting everybody's names now. I can't think straight no more. Caribou, you went through this before, haven't you?
Yeah, like I had someone that I liked. Like, you know, I was like, hey, I'm supposed to be good friends. Nope, they turned around and blocked me out of the blue. Like I didn't do anything wrong.
It gives somebody a bad impression of who you really are. And it makes other people think, well, man, she keeps blocking these people. Are you sure she's who she says she is? Or is she just putting out the wrong impression? Because she talks about how she had heart surgery. I don't see no scars on her chest nowhere. And I'm very fluently at what I'm looking at. She says she has ADHD. Well, I have ADHD, and I was born with it, I know. And I get paid for it, too, by the way. But I still make a name for myself. On top of it, I think it's very rude and crude. But as I said before, I'm making amends to her. I'm apologizing to her and her fans out there in the world of whatever it is. It wasn't my fault that AI did that thing. And I tried to go back and take it. And she wrote a letter back saying, why are you bothering me? Leave me alone. And she blocked me after that. And I'm the type of person, I got to make amends. I don't care how long it takes me. I got to be man enough to make amends. And that's what I'm doing now to her and her followers.
Well, I mean, you could only do what you could do, Giant. You know, you say your apology, and it's up to her to forgive you or not.
Yeah. And on her TikTok account, because now she does have a TikTok account, and I told her right on her TikTok account, blunt, face up. Everybody knows how Scorpions and Sagittariuses are. We come right out, we say it, we hold nothing back. And I told her exactly how I felt. She said, I'll tell you what, let's just drop it and let's move forward. I'm sorry about this and everything else. Well, don't get me wrong. Sorry, don't feed the bulldog.
Mm. Well, if you don't hear back from her, which you probably won't, you know.
Actually, I don't care if I do or I don't. I'm done. I'm not going to follow her no more because she blocked me a 5th time. Tonight.
That's kind of snobbish.
Huh? What'd you say?
That's kind of snobbish.
That's kind of snobbish. Yeah, I know. And that's coming from a woman saying that.
Well, they say
No,
sometimes that
I would have gave up at 3 rejections, so, to give you credit for, I give you credit for being persistent, but, I'm like 3 strikes you're out type of thing. But hey,
it doesn't bother me one way or the other. I already told her I'm not going to help her out again.
All right.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't put up with that shit.
And you're a woman. You just admitted that too, right, Kara?
Yeah. I wouldn't put up with that. I wouldn't block people without saying, okay, what are you getting at?
Exactly.
My family told me, always trust a person, and if they make a mistake, make amends.
Exactly the point.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing, is I'm making amends. But come on, man. Don't block a person with before you even get to hear what the person's trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, I made the amends. If she doesn't accept it, oh well, that's on her. It's not on me.
Can I say something mean?
Don't say anything mean, really.
But I'm an asshole, just like my family. I used to be sweet, but I found out my whole family's an asshole. So
anyhow, let's get on to the show about whatever it is, UFOs, Bigfoot, AI.
Yeah.
God, by the time, like Chris said, when 15 years passes away, the AIs are going to be like, would you say Terminator 2? We're all going to be screwed and tattooed.
yeah, they'll have too much power, I'll tell you that.
someone so mighty on. We haven't heard from him.
His power went out. Somebody hit a telephone pole, so they can't charge your phones up.
Oh, that sounds like that.
Typical drunk. That's what happens around here. We lose our power because there's somebody driving down the road, drunk, and hits a pole and knocks our power out. It never fails down here either.
Yeah.
Really?
But I don't have to worry about it no more. Now I have 700 amps of lithium ion phosphate batteries. I have 1,000 watts of solar on top of my motorhome. I have a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter, which sooner or later is going to be a 5,000 watt. And pretty soon I'll be completely off the grid.
Excellent.
Way to go.
Yeah. Because I'm finding out that a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter, it takes about 2,500 watts to start the window AC up, and it drains the battery within 5 hours. If I had a 5,000 to 10,000 watt pure sine wave inverter, it would last between 12 to 16 hours.
Damn. Any Bigfoot sightings from you guys yet?
Not down here. Any Bigfoot down here wouldn't be caught dead in this heat.
What about you guys?
Well, you weren't on the show, but I went Bigfooting a few weeks ago for 5 nights and 6 days, and I was just looking at at some of the videos and things, and man, it blows my mind that that one evening that when these red eyes were close to my campsite, and you could see the moving back and forth and up and down his head close, and then hearing, it's so bizarre to hear this noise in the background for like 10 minutes making this and I'm going, what is that behind this Bigfoot, or what is that noise? I've never heard this noise that they've ever made
Sounds like
like
a
this.
duck.
And
Sounds
it
like a
kept
duck,
on,
to be honest.
yeah, well, it kept on going, and then after 5 minutes, it started getting closer. Then, then 10 minutes started getting closer. It just started getting closer and closer and closer. And I'm looking, and there it is, and it's coming at my feet. And the darkness, man, and all I have is a headlamp on my head, and it's a freaking porcupine. It was so far in the distance, man. What are the chances of that happening, man? Just think about what I'm telling you. I'm just sitting there going, what is this? What is coming? And it's coming through the mountain wall, which is dense. That part, it's a short tree. It has beautiful flowers, but it grows in Virginia, and just that, and I just stood there, and this little freaking porcupine comes over there to my feet, and I'm still blown away about it. I'm still blown away why that had happened. Well, Bigfoot is watching me, and then this other Bigfoot that snapped the branch over there about maybe about 10 minutes or 15 minutes before I started hearing that noise, made a warning to the other Bigfoot that was close to me not to get any closer. He just he grabbed that, it wasn't wood knock, he grabbed that branch and cracked it. And the one that was next to me just looked and just stayed there and didn't move, and then I started hearing the sound of a porcupine. So you talk bizarreness, man. I'm telling you, that is bizarre.
Bizarro.
That is.
For sure.
I'm always hearing when I'm out of wood. I'm always hearing the barred owls, and there were plenty visiting me in my time out there, and coyotes and those. But never in my life would have ever thought it was a porcupine coming to me. Ever.
Yeah. And don't forget what you realized afterwards too, Chris. Because remember when I asked you that question about hearing those, birds when they chirp in the early morning? Did you hear that at midnight? And then you realized afterwards, like, yeah, you did. So, and again, unless you physically see it, but it's a strong possibility that they were mimicking those, morning bird calls, in the middle of the night.
I'm sorry, but I would be scared of that. I would have been like,
Oh, no. I didn't even have a fire. I was in pitch black in the wilderness. Pitch black. I wasn't afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. That's something I didn't. The only thing I was afraid of when I'm out there is the freaking bear and the coyotes. But you know what? Even the coyotes, man, they were quick. There was up to 6 of them. I'm telling you, they were going at it one night, but they don't seem to be aggressive with me. They must know something, that either Bigfoot's watching me or whatever. Not to say that.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say coyotes, and I don't doubt, I don't doubt you, but I just, curious to know, because we know that these creatures can mimic anything. You were confident with all the coyote yelling because, that it was a coyote, because I know that, like, where I was at, it was, where I, used to live, they would sound like coyotes at first. And I think, Giant, if you remember that recording I sent you a while back, and it sounded like that there were some coyotes. And then as the coyotes were yelling, you could hear something that is definitely not a coyote yelling with the coyotes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could hear something on, So I'm just kind of curious, like, was it coyotes all the way, or was there something else in there?
There wasn't I understand exactly what you're saying, because I have like 30,000 listeners that listen to that video I did, and I'm with my friend Billy, Tambourine Willie, and we were sitting there out on the field, this open field of meadow, like 30 acres, and And there's that howling, going at it. And at the end, I go, I hear it's different. And Willie's next to me, and I'm recording it. And I said, Willie, that's not a coyote. He's imitating a coyote. I'm saying this. I mean, it's a 2.5 minute video I did. And then he would howl again and howl again. He was trying to get a hold of the coyotes that were having a celebration. And these coyotes in the beginning must have had a kill or something, or they were going on a hunt, and they were going up and down all the octaves of the little puppies to the big ones. And then this lone coyote in the distance goes off, and then the group of them that were singing just stopped, and they never returned the call. And then I'm going, wow, Jesus, that's not a coyote at the end. And then that's what I'm saying as I'm recording, listening, and then this Bigfoot kept on going and howling, trying to imitate a coyote. And it was cool. And it was at dusk, but there was still light. But he gave about maybe 8, 10 howls. And a lot of people listened to that one. And I know what you're saying. Yeah, he didn't fool me, and he didn't fool the coyotes. He tried. But the ones near my camp this last time, But the first night I had one or two coyotes calling at night, and then the couple of barred owls. I was really excited, and then that morning the barred owls were going off, and then in the distance I just heard a howl, and this was like at 5:30 in the morning. So this was the first night into the next morning, and it was sweet to hear him. You know, he gave a howl at the end before the sun rose, and that sounded like to me that it was a Bigfoot, just not imitating a coyote. But I think it was only like one night that neither of them made a sound. You know, like the barred owls and the coyotes. But it just. The only thing I ever have fear of, look, don't get me wrong. The dog man's around, I'm not going to like that, and I hope I never run into that. But, it was weird. It was the first time, I shouldn't say first time, but I've been out in the wilderness where I couldn't make a fire because of the weather and I had to stay in my tent. But this was the first time where I was out and I didn't have fire. All I had was a headlamp on my head. And at first it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but I knew they were coming because I could see them in the distance coming closer and closer to me on that. And but if they wanted to hurt me, they could have done it 100,000 times, man. I mean, for all the years since 2008 to now, and that the thing I worry about is the bear and dog man or other things that bump in the night. Yeah, but from getting hurt by Bigfoot, that's not a concern. Never. But the other things, that is for me a concern. Yes.
I was always thinking about Chris. When me and Chris were up, not you, the other Chris, when me and Chris were up in Big Bend, California, or I should say Bernie, California, we went shopping in I think it was like a Rite Aid or something like that down in the valley in this little small town. And we had this kid outside stop us. They asked if we do Bigfoot research and stuff. We told them, yeah. And this kid was telling Chris that every once in a while at night, these creatures would come into his farm, into his ranch, and this is broad daylight, no trees or nothing around, and these creatures come right up to his ranch and carried off with 2 horses.
Whoa! Damn.
Yeah.
That's scary.
This thing was like maybe 10 feet tall, picked up a horse and walked away with it. And then one other time it said he picked up 2 goats and walked off with that too. So I'm pretty sure they were eating either these horses or the goats.
Dang, that's scary.
And if you're gonna own a farm with animals on it, I would make sure you build a cement wall or something around, because if you don't, and I mean high enough, you're going to have some critters missing. And it's going to be on a Bigfoot's platter.
Damn.
These creatures are not vegetarians. They love fish. They love fish real well, but when they're starving, they will eat anything.
Scary.
You know, I always hear that stories of farmers and people that have horses, when they come in the morning to give them feed or something like that, or whatever they have to take care of, they find their manes braided, you know, that are beautiful braids on the horses, you know, that are on some farmlands. Then many people believe that it is Bigfoot that comes down and braids their mane. I don't know. That's what I was told.
You know, when you say that, Chris, excuse me, John, my ex-father-in-law, okay, is from Colombia, and he told me that they knew that there was some creature in the woods that did exactly what you just said. It would braid the hairs of the horses, you know. They would, you know, and it was like, it would happen overnight, and they're like, nobody knew what did it, but sometimes they got a glimpse of something in the woods, something dark roaming the woods, you know. So when I used to, you know, when I used to talk to him, you know, when I was married, I mean, when I finally opened up to him about Bigfoot, yeah, he had no problem believing me because of what went on in his country.
Right.
What
Yeah, I just never would imagine that one of those would have, you know, eaten a whole horse, but maybe they do.
Yeah. But I mean, there's some rogue Bigfoots out there that do, and then there's a lot of them out there that don't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, there are all kinds, I guess. We all know that. Thank God I haven't witnessed any of them like that, man. I'm glad I you know, I've seen so many that, you know, nothing has ever came to me and threatened me like that.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Kara, where do you live, in New Hampshire?
Yeah, yes I do.
Yeah, I went Bigfooting up there once. In Loon.
How did it go?
On the footprint. In the snow. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I got on video.
Why didn't you come up here and do it again? Someone could hang out.
Yeah, you never know. Loon, let me tell you, going to places in New Hampshire is never easy, man. You know, I don't know who, you know, Steve and Anthony. The roads in New Hampshire are just mountainous, curvy, winding roads that go up and down, and it's very popular for people that like to ski.
Right.
You know, it's a big state for skiing, New Hampshire. You know, you got all these famous there, you know.
You got all these famous stars and everything up there and everything else, but when what do they call that thing? A landslide happens, you're screwed and tattooed.
You mean an avalanche?
Avalanche, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you born and bred there in New Hampshire?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah, she's a born and raised New Hampshirean.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a farm girl.
Yeah.
Can't blame me.
Sure. I got a question. Are you back home or are you still in the hospital?
I'm home, actually.
You're back home?
I think she had surgery. I don't know on what. I don't know if it was her mouth or whether she had surgery somewhere else. I don't know.
Oh, wait. I'll wait to tell you guys when we're not live.
Really? What'd you do? Have a sex change?
No. Laugh it up, guys. Ha 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 ha. Funny.
She's gonna group it with you on the.
She loves the attention.
What did I do? Oh, I get it because I was sick. You guys just have to ruffle my feathers.
No, I ain't gonna ruffle your feathers. I know better.
We'll let Snake Man do that.
Yeah, if he ever gets online, but I don't think he will because he said, like I talked to him earlier, his phone only had like 5% on his phone left. Somebody hit a phone pole, I guess, where he was at. I don't know who. And he was I think he was in Paris, Texas last week, taking care of business for his daughter because his daughter had an idiotic husband that was treating her like crap.
And he's back home. I talked to him for a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Bruce Wayne. But he never did that little weasel.
Little weasel. No comment.
Little snake man.
So, not to get off the topic or anything, but what do you think about these AIs? Anybody? Any suggestion?
Well, it could be, there's pros and cons to it, but, I'm my concern now is that you're going to have folks in the future, try to fake Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I had saw the other day that somebody said, "Hey, AI, draw me a picture of this, and that," and sure enough, there is it drew them a picture of whatever it is that they asked for in color. You know what I mean? And not only, and the main subject, it's like, for example, like if I say, draw me a picture of Kira, okay, not only did he draw a picture of Kira, but it showed her on the farm with the cows and her milking and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it went crazy. I'm like, oh my goodness, I mean, that's it goes, some of it goes above and beyond. And so, if you get somebody to say, hey, show me, give me a video of Bigfoot walking,
But most of all these Bigfoots that you see on Facebook, they don't represent a Bigfoot. It looks like a freaking ape walking around. I know what a Bigfoot looks like. These things don't look nothing like a Bigfoot. They're more or less an ape is all it is. And there's a difference between an ape and a Bigfoot. These things don't even have anywhere close to it. And me and Chris were talking about earlier, and Chris thinks the way I do, that anywhere between 10 and 15 years from now, the human race is going to be screwed and tattooed. AIs are going to take over the world, and it's going to be like Terminator 2. We're all screwed.
Oh, man.
Well, that's the thing. If they're able to get the codes and records of nuclear missiles, where those halos that they're in, and all. I mean, who knows? If they think to preserve Earth, and if they think that way, that the betterment is to stop the process of humans multiplying and getting. We're already at 8 billion people in this world, and it's just going to get worse. And probably they're right. That, you don't know what they can destroy and start. They who knows the technology with them. The British are one of the biggest producers of AI. And not only AI robots. I mean, I was watching the show 2 days ago. There they are, walking and carrying, the heavy, I don't know how much the weight they were carrying. But, and it was a typical robot-looking thing, but was able to function and move as fast as a man. But didn't have skin or anything like that, artificial that. But, it had the head features, looking where it was going down the steps and carrying this and that. We're in the infant stage, man. Imagine 10, 15 years what this is going to be. I mean, you want a wife, you want a husband, call AI.
Yeah, you want a wife, you want a husband, wait till you make love, and all of a sudden, it got cut off. You're screwed.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Oh, man.
When it comes to Bigfoot, this is why I am picking up the habit of looking at old articles, okay? Yeah. Because this stuff happened in the past. You know what I mean? There's a record of it. You can look it up on any online archive, or go to like the old newspaper website and stuff like that, and because although you're not going to see photos, for people, you come to realize that, hey, they've been talking about, the big hairy man in the woods for a long time. Okay? And for you, Chris and Kira, okay, I happened to find an article in the Springfield, Massachusetts Republican, okay, but it's talking about New Hampshire, okay, and it says that, and this is in Greenville, which is south part of New Hampshire, Hillsborough County, all right, and it says, and I'll read the article to you, all right. The title of it is "Another Wild Man Appears." So here it is. This is November 3rd, 1895. All right, and it says another wild man appears. So this is not the first time. All right, and it says the people of Greenville, bordering upon the southeastern boundary of New Hampshire, are excited over what they call a gorilla seen in the woods of that forest section. On Tuesday, a party of young men were out gunning for squirrels. After firing, they were startled to see a large beast jump from the brush and disappear into the forest. Their story is vouched for by a reputable new WICS man. I guess I don't know how to pronounce that term. But that the same evening, a young man who lives a short distance out of town, when nearing the cemetery, heard growling with noise in the brushwood. He saw the same figure and started on the run. A party of men with guns went in pursuit of the gorilla Wednesday, but found no trace of the beast. Another party informs a correspondent that the gorilla was seen in that vicinity some weeks ago. The hardy and brave pioneers of that forest section are greatly excited over the affairs and are determined to make aggressive warfare upon the animal or whatever it may prove to be. And that's the end of the article. So
that's great.
So
last week, you did a great job last week, Anthony, on that. It was great.
Good job.
Yeah. And you go to Louisiana. Go to Louisiana. The pecan pines or whatever. Man, they had a run-in with a lot of them down there. I remember reading stories about it maybe 5-6 years ago or something. I can't remember how long ago it is, to be honest with you, but I do remember reading about it. And there was battles. You know?
Oh, and I have some other news for you guys. That stuff I've been taking for my cancer treatment.
Yeah.
It's gone. It went into remission because of that 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide I've been taking. It's gone.
Oh.
Good. Glad to hear that, Giant. Glad to hear that.
It worked. I knew it would. I knew it would because I used the stuff before and it worked.
All right. So because Chris mentioned Louisiana.
The Bayou State.
All right, I have a couple of them here, right? But this one is out of Alexandria, Louisiana. From the publication called Weekly Town Talk, and this is April 1930. Okay, and Oberlin, Louisiana. I'm not. Hold on, let me look at the map. Not exactly sure where that is, but anyway. It says, fishermen see strange animal in Allen Parish. That's the title of the article. All right? And it says, one night this week, a party consisting of Joe, Ezzie, and H. Taylor, and Francis and Foster Manuel went to Calcasieu. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but Blue River near the coal settlement to fish with set lines. During the night, while going to the lines, they encountered some strange animal which they state resembled a gorilla. They say he was standing with his arms around the tree when they came upon him. They left for home with much more reference to speed than to grace, arriving in town just before daylight, having come afoot as the car that took them had been sent back. After daylight, they armed themselves and returned to the scene, but found only strange tracks. So they report, and that's it. So
wow,
and that was out of Louisiana. So here's the connection I want to bring between the two articles. Even though one is in 1930, one was in 1895. Louisiana is very, very far from New Hampshire. Okay, and here we are. You know, before the term Bigfoot was coined, as far away as these two states are, they're still saying it's a gorilla. They think they saw a gorilla. All right, standing in the, and it's not a gorilla. It's not a gorilla. I mean, you and I know, everybody on the show knows, but it's not a gorilla. But this is what they called it back then. They think it's like another type of gorilla. It's kind of like, like an American squirrel might not be the same as an Asian squirrel, but you could still tell it's a squirrel, so they're calling it a gorilla.
Right. Yeah, you're spot on with that, Two different sites, different centuries, and they're coming up, and they're putting it on paper so people can read it. 50 years later, 100 years later, whatever. The information is there for you to find, and that's what you did.
Yeah. So, and again, those are just two states. I have many more articles that I have found that they either call it a wild man. If you remember last week, for the first time, I mean, it was mind-blowing to me, but, they had a wild woman. There's two articles I found on a wild woman. And then, but they called it, but a lot of other articles were saying it's a wild gorilla. It's seeing a gorilla, but, so. Now, mind you, it's interesting because in the 1950s, they had, hold on one second, Chris. In the 1930s, they had called it a gorilla, but people forget, okay, that when they first saw gorillas in the wild, okay, and when they made a conscious effort to prove that gorillas exist, it took them like almost 70 years, okay, of diligent before they found the gorillas, So and now you have now they can tell that there's different types of gorillas out there, But back then, when they were describing these animals, over 100 years ago, it was like it took them a long time, to prove that these things were real. And just like we have zoos today, stuff like that. They had to capture them and then put them on display for people to believe it. But but prior to but it did. I want to say it took like 67 years, from the time that they started, making like an active scientific search to them finding it. So here it is. They find it. They prove it's real. Everybody's talking about gorillas, how they're, and now there's, the way they can't catch that they see, you know? So, it's interesting. So anyway, what were we going to say?
Oh, listen, you know, I remember it must have been in the 70s, and I would go tenting and camping with my friends out in the woods and overnight. And I remember my stepfather saying, you know, Christopher, there is a wild man. And he had a serious, he says, there is a wild man that lives in these woods in Connecticut. And I was in Cornwall, Connecticut, which is, you know, up in the northwest corner. But he would say, I'm going like, wild man. I'm going like, what? Oh, yeah. He would go, there is a wild man. And like, he didn't want to go into it too much. And I never heard him say it except for that one time when I was going camping in the summer with my friends, like for overnight or 2 nights. We were going camping, and, you know, and we would go in the woods. It's not like it is nowadays. God, you're letting your son go out in the woods camping 5 miles from the house or something like that. Shit, back then, man, that was just normal recreation. But I remember his face just saying, oh, like he saw it. And he called it the wild man. Uh-huh. So, you know, that was the first time I ever heard of it. It was in the 70s. I must have been like, 13 or 14 years old. But I thought he was bullshitting, or some crazy person left his house from the farm and just decided to live off the land in the woods. But he didn't describe it. But he called it the wild man, and he was serious about it. But I didn't ask him to describe it either. But, those articles you'll be finding, Anthony, those are great.
So you remember back at Christmas time, I told you that, I sent you a picture about, that book that I bought from Dave Politis called Bigfoot, Wild Men, right? So the third edition that I got, and the articles are from, listen to this, 1680 to 1925, all right? These articles, all right? And which is kind of cool because, like, it's not like they're retyping it. No, they're giving you copies of the newspaper articles on every page, okay? With the exception of, like, like the first article that's dated from 1760, it only has 2 lines, okay? But listen to this, okay? It says the below 2 lines came from the book Wonder in the Sky by Jacques Vallée, okay? Date of article, September 17th, 1680. Almost 100 years before America was America, all right?
Yeah.
This is the 2 lines. It says, a large black cloud-like mass landed in a field, releasing a huge hair-covered being that was seen briefly and disappeared. That was it. Okay? And it was from that book. The book was called Wonder in the Sky. So,
wow.
1680. I didn't find that. Dave Politis found that. So that's the first one book.
So a large. Let me get this clear, and listeners are listening to this. You just mentioned that a large black mass came from the sky and landed in this field. Am I correct so far?
Almost a large black cloud-like mass landed in the field.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to repeat it. Releasing a huge hair-covered being that was seen briefly and disappeared.
Wow. And disappeared. Wow. Like stealth.
This was like. Yep, exactly. This is in 1680.
Wow, that's some Frenchman. Huh.
Yep.
Did it say what state or what area, province or whatever?
That's all it says.
And more likely it was in France, because France has a lot of UFO activity.
Yeah, but you got, I don't know where that, and I guess we could look up that book and see, get more details on the author and where he wrote it and stuff like that. But yeah, keep in mind, the French were here and, they had territory here, in the States, before they sold it to the U.S.
Well,
but, the French called New Orleans.
Out here where I'm at, and I did some research a few years back when I lived in Palo Verde. They have a place out here. It's called Jamal, California. It's like you're going towards the mountains where there's woods and trees and everything else, but almost near the desert. And according to the history of that, there was like some miners and stuff out in the desert looking for gold and stuff like that. And they said they were in what they called the Barago wilderness, which is about 75 miles west of me. And they said they saw this small, hairy creature about 5 foot to almost 5.5 feet tall, broad shoulders, and I mean, the way they described it looked like a miniature Bigfoot, all covered in hair and everything else. And they'd look at it, it would stop, and then when they weren't looking at it, it would come forward little by little, and then they'd look at it again, it would stop, and it was trying to speak to them in an unknown language that these miners couldn't figure out. So these miners picked up their rifles, and as soon as this creature saw the rifles, it took off and went the other way.
Huh. How about that? All right. I know you're talking, but
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just thinking, when Giant was talking about the size of it, it was an adolescent, and I'll never forget, maybe 40 yards, 50 yards outside my cabin. I was walking around, and it was mid-fall, and the mushrooms were coming out, and I was just picking all these edible mushrooms off of this dead tree that fell down. And I was going, oh, great, I'll make mushroom soup, I'll make salad, whatever. These weren't psilocybin, so I'm picking them, and all of a sudden I hear this crack, boom, boom, and down, and I turn around, down from this cathedral pine falls a adolescent Bigfoot on his back, and I'm stunned. I am like, I'm like 40 feet from him, and he was watching me, and he gets up and he looks at me. And I'm looking at him with my bag that I'm carrying full of mushrooms, and I'm going, holy shit. And then all of a sudden, he just tears ass through the forest, and I could see this trail. And this is in daylight. I'm like 3 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon. But I could see this trail zigzagging like it was a trail from like Santa's sleigh or something, just running from back and zigzagging through the woods, and then finally disappearing. And then within a minute, it had to be within a minute, because I started walking directly where he fell down, and this tree branch that he broke, and he fell down on. I would go over to that tree branch, and as soon as I was there to the tree branch, I hear another crack and a bang in the distance, and I said, okay, he brought his parents back. And I say, no problem, I won't go any farther, I said, and I just went back to that tree that fell down and picking my mushrooms. But the next day I went back over there, and I found that snap that the parents broke. Oh, that thing was like 13 feet high where the snap was broken. But I remember looking at him, and he looking at me, and I'm seeing his face, man, and it almost was flat, and it was a light color. It was like a light color, almost like a peach color. It was like that. With peach color. His face was just, it wasn't black like he normally did. And, that was the odd thing about it. Oh, yeah, but the way he ran, man, I mean, there was a trail. there was just a trail following his back. It was just, the first time I ever noticed it like that, because I've seen him run before. My first Bigfoot sighting, I saw this 8-footer or whatever he was. He was thin as like he was starving to death, and he was running across the ridge. And this was like 10:30 in the morning, and it was like light out, and I'm sitting there looking at him running towards me and then going past me. And he was thin, but his face was black, man. It was black and flat, and he was black, and his hair was gorgeous black hair. But this one was black hair, not as dark as his, but his face was like a peach color, you know, and that's what got me. Because I'm looking at him, and he got up, and he looked at me for 5 seconds. We're just staring at each other. And my jaw must have been down to my belly, you know, and I wasn't expecting. But they were watched. That's what they do. They watched me. I mean, I was their entertainment, man. I was their TV. You know, they loved coming around. So many times, you know, I didn't even know they were there. You know, but zigzagging, man, I just can't remember. I can't believe I could follow him. I was just following him. He must have went about like half a mile. I mean, we kept on going in the forest, just kept zigzagging without stopping. You know, I'm just looking. I'm going, huh?
Darn, that's very scary.
No, I'm not scared. I wasn't scared. I guess it can be scary, yes, to some. I was just shocked. I was more shocked of his speed and why he was leaving a trail. Like, it really, you know, something like you would do if you were on LSD, you would see a trail or something like that. But I wasn't. And I didn't even eat the mushrooms, and I know my mushrooms, and I know how to pick to be caught. But I didn't even touch any, so I'm just telling people that listening, these things are magical.
Yeah,
You ain't tripping.
If you were on LSD, you'd be seeing more than just a. But you'd be seeing nothing but psychedelic colors and everything else.
You'll be like, I'm chasing dragon. This dragon got my hand. Sugar boom boom. I'm chasing dragon. Yeah, you'll be singing that, and you'll be chasing the dragon.
But it was like almost like sparkles or something, you know. You could just see this glow as he is feeding. And I don't know how he didn't hit a branch. Listen, I've been throughout. I know every inch of that area for so many years, being up there and going combing for looking for signs and snaps and sticks and symbols and stuff. And it didn't stop. Like he didn't trip or fall. He just kept going till he disappeared. You know, that was a crazy thing. But, you know, that's why I find the woods going out to this day. I still do it. And Anthony does it.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so much out there, man. You know, it is out there. You know, and good and bad.
Well, yeah, boy. I can understand that.
Yeah, like, seriously. Like, I would be scared and frightened. I would have been like, ah.
Let's take
in the beginning, Kara, in the beginning, let me tell you, I'm out there, and I know something's out there, and it's playing games with me in 2008 to 2012 or 13. Believe me, I used to go to the liquor store. Oh, yeah, I get my fifth of vodka, whatever, and I would have it, and I'd take shots, 1, 2 shots, maybe 3, to get the balls enough to go out there. And I'm by myself in this mountain. I know my thoughts. There is something Bigfoot out there, and he screams and yells and shitting on my fucking porch. Excuse my language. And I'm going, something's there. It's just
nice.
You know.
I don't say that. Nice.
Yeah,
I don't want to swear.
Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's You probably haven't even questioned what bar soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who open the pickle jar on the first try. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. Dare I say, soft. Oh, men aren't supposed to have soft skin? Yeah, well, men weren't supposed to cry during movies. And then they made the movie Rudy. He's so little. You want to smell like the forest? Boom, pine tar, we've got you. You want to smell like the sea? Boom, nautical sage, we've got you. You want to smell like you just got off a boat in the Caribbean? Boom, bay rum, we've got you. And with 6 more cents, we've got you covered no matter what kind of man you are. Now you're wondering, why have I been doing it wrong for so long? During the First World War, big soap started taking out all the natural ingredients to make production cheaper and faster. And they replaced all the natural stuff with chemicals. Chemicals like sodium sulfate, parabens, and dioxane. Chemicals linked to depression, liver damage, cancer, and low sperm count. And worst of all, dry skin. Oh. Your poor balls, all dry, empty, and sad. But there's good news. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. No. Turn your shower game up to 11. With the smooth lather of gold moss or the exfoliating woodsy bliss that is pine tar. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive. Still not sure? Here's a couple reviews from real customers. Joseph S. says,
"This is the perfect bar of soap. It's like it was handcrafted in the Northwest Forest by beautiful tiny elves."
Oh, tiny elves isn't enough for you? Well, here's another review from Michael A.
"It makes you feel like you just stepped out of a mountain stream, and Squatch was there to hand you the towel."
Time for you to get the right tool for the job, because you're worth it, my friend. We ship it right to your door. And with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, if it's not the best bar of soap you've ever used, it's on us. Tens of thousands of men already subscribe. Which means that every month, fresh new bars of Squatch show up at their door. Click the link for Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Or don't, and continue to be mommy's little helper.
And we're back.
Those were some good commercials.
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
I like them.
Dried balls.
Nobody wants some dry balls. Ugh.
No.
They don't want old man balls.
Oh no. Oh no, Gal.
It's getting a little bit, it's getting a little deep out here. Like what's his name? They used to do these radio shows. What's this guy's name? He used to play on America's Got Talent. What the hell's that guy's name?
Oh, Simon Cowell?
Not Simon Cowell. He used to be a tall guy, had long hair, wore glasses all the time. Howard Stern.
Oh, Howard Stern. Yeah, he's pretty funny. Yeah, he had some outrageous shows.
Yeah, I remember when he first did the shows back in the 1990s. He did a radio show that was strictly nothing about sex. That show didn't last long either.
Was that the one where he had this woman that was able to like you go to the circus and the guy would swallow the sword, well this girl would swallow the longest kabasi.
It was so funny.
She was talented, man. She was talented, I gotta tell you.
You got the giggly.
Oh my God, that was great.
That's the same guy.
Okay, guys. I got another article from the Dave Paulides book, and this one I think is kind of interesting. I think you guys are going to like it. I think you do. I'm going to read to you. It's a short paragraph. Now, this is from the Times in the United Kingdom, and this took place in August 30th, 1800. Okay? So, I'm going to read it to you, but remember, this is English, not American English, right? So, all right, there is now in the river an astonishing large, hairy wild man caught 400 miles from the Cape of Good Hope, brought over in the Rambler, South Whaler. So they caught one. Okay, 1800s, they caught one. He is of astonishing muscular strength, a specimen of which had nearly proved fatal to one of the custom house officers who inadvertently went too near him. He went too near to him. He seized hold of the man, twirled him about 2 or 3 times with the greatest velocity, and then threw him over the side. Luckily, the man escaped with a horrid fright and found ducking, meaning he found, safety. So, what do you think of that?
Wow. It's the first time I ever heard that they caught one. Huh.
Yeah, and this is in this was in 1800.
1800 in South Africa.
Yeah.
No, in the UK. Not South Africa, in the UK.
Yeah, United Kingdom.
Oh, okay. Okay. And United Kingdom, all right. And they had him on a boat, a ship or something?
Yeah. And the name of the boat is called Rambler, and it was a whaling ship. It was a whale. So obviously, if it's a whaling ship, this thing is big enough for a whale. It's definitely big enough for Bigfoot. So
yeah. Wow, I would love to find out a follow up on that.
Yeah. The
Rambler.
Times and yep, Rambler was the name of the whaling ship. And they said they caught it. It was 400 miles from the Cape of Good Hope. So, a large hairy wildman.
See, that's what threw me off. If I'm not mistaken, the Cape of Good Hope, isn't it off the bottom of South Africa? Or no?
It might be a different
I'll tell you right now, we're going to find out the truth on this. Okay, hold on. Let's do this right now.
All right, you know what, Chris?
The Cape of Good Hope. South Africa. Here I am.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. So you're right. I'm wrong, but I'm thinking it was in the UK because the Times in the UK published this. So I'm thinking it's in the UK. So yeah. So your geography better than me. So for sure, it's you clear that up. It's in South Africa. So I thought it was in the UK because the article is from the UK, not Africa, not from South Africa.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not trying to change your thing. You're reading what you thought. Either way, if they found one in England or in South Africa, you never hear about it. You never hear about Bigfoot in South Africa or in the United Kingdom. Never.
Yeah.
At least I never have.
Yeah.
So you know what? I talked to some people from Poland, maybe 10, 15 years ago, and they were, and I asked them, do they believe in Bigfoot? And Polish people say, yes, we have. In Poland, we have Bigfoot.
Wow, about that.
Yeah, sure. I've asked many. That's all I used to do. and I found foreigners. Especially Europe and stuff. I was just trying, for my experience seeing them here, and I would ask, and they say yes, it's known. I forgot what they called it.
A golem?
It's a different name. Huh?
A golem?
Golem. It could have been that. Well, you know what? Let's go and ask AI. Well, I got AI here available.
Yeah,
I've seen that you and I were talking about it. Okay, let's see what we got going here. We're not letting you go. Okay, what's the name for Bigfoot in Poland? Okay, so it's called the Getsko, or the Polish Disik Kalawik, whatever. But yeah, the Polish wildman, Getsko. See?
Getsko, okay.
Yeah. That's what, if I ever meet another one, I'm going to name him Getsko.
Getsko. That's like saying, let's go.
I like that name for show.
Well, if I find a female one, I'm going to name her Kira.
Oh.
What?
Kira, there you go.
Why me?
Because you're so sweet. No,
Are
because
you
you're so
Gary, Kira?
Whoa, hang on, hold up. Why am I getting dragged into this shit? Jeanette.
She loves it.
Well, Bruce is not here, so we got to give it to somebody.
Why don't you pick on Bruce Almighty or Steve?
Yeah, see, I like that. I like that little Steve. She sounds like the Wicked Witch of the West.
All right.
What the? All right, me mateys.
Oh boy.
So anyway, yeah,
You know, I think it was back during the turn of the century, during the 1900s, and I read this article somewhere. I'm not sure where it was at. It could have been on the internet or something like this. This was years back. And it was about somebody that had captured a Bigfoot, put it inside of a boxcar of a train in a cage. The train slowed down and stopped to check a few things out or something like that. There was tree branches in the on the track or something they were trying to clear so the train could keep going. So they were clearing the train. They went down to check the boxcar to see if the boxcar was all right. The boxcar was wide open, and the cage somehow or another was broken out of, and whatever was in the cage broke out and went off into the wilderness.
Wow.
And that was about during the almost turn of the century.
You know, I would have loved it then. I really would have, out in the wilderness, the Wild West, it's a survival thing. You have to survive the Indians and fighting and other outlaws. There was no law, really, actually, but just to be there with nature and when 2 years ago when I was in Colorado and up in the mountains that high, I didn't see anybody. There was nobody. And I come across some old mining mines that were, I guess the rocks caved in or stuff, but there were these areas in the side of the mountains that they were prospecting, and you'd find these old, tents, made out of wood. It was they would get a branch that would come, the lowest branch that would come from the base of a big spruce or pine tree. They would then add sticks and stuff to make a 1 or 2 man tent from the tree, the mining shafts, and on the side of the mountain. And then some of the other ones that I found were huge, man. They were 12, 15 feet tall, these teepees. And I posted everything on my YouTube channel so people could see that. But being up there 2 years ago without anybody around. Imagine when it was like 200 years ago.
You know,
maybe there was more people there.
Talking about the wilderness, I remember when me and Chris were at the, Chris Contreras, were at the PG&E Cabins with his mom back in 2015, I believe, or 2016 up in Big Bend, California. And I was in bed. These cabins, they had inside, and then the outside porch was covered with screen. There wasn't no walls, and you only had like tabletops came from the floor about halfway up, and then you had like tables go around. Well, from the table on up to the roof, it was nothing but all screened in, and I could breathe a nice cool air coming in. Oh man, I slept good out there. But there was a screen door there too, and it was a pretty thick screen door. No animal could actually get out. Bigfoot might, but no cougar, nothing like that. And I heard this walking around outside, like wood, like something out there was stepping on it heavily. And I'm like, what the hell? So I got up about maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I walked outside. I must have passed it because I didn't really look at it. I went to check up on my Jeep, made sure my Jeep was right. Now, mind you, I was wearing nothing but water shoes. I wasn't wearing no pants and no shirt. The only thing I had on was my skivvies or my shorts, and that was it, my underwear. I turned around, and right in front of me, about 10 feet, there's this, what I thought was a coyote or a what do you call it? Not a coyote, but a wolf, sitting in front of me, standing still. And we're both staring at each other. And I'm looking at the contour, the back, and everything else, and then I noticed the tail dropped all the way down, but then the tail kind of curved all the way up like a fish hook. And I'm like, wait a minute, that ain't no dog. That's a mountain lion. And me and this mountain lion are standing there. I wasn't afraid of it either. That's the weird part. I was not afraid of it at all. And we're just sitting there looking at each other, and he's looking and I'm looking. I took one step forward and the cat took off. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you taking off for? I want to get a closer look for it. And I wasn't afraid at all. And he goes across this little walking bridge and stopped. And I went walking up to this walking bridge. He took off again. I'm like, what the hell? Come on, cat, quit running away. And I got to the point, I'm not going to chase you across that bridge. You're more likely going to do an ambush. So I started walking back to the cabin, and the cat's behind me. That's the weird part. He was just following me. He wasn't in attack mode or nothing. He was just following me. So I went inside the house. I got me a big-ass bowl, and I figured it was hungry anyhow. And I had nothing but these, trail mix with pretzels and these Wheaties and all this stuff in it. And whatever it was, I put it in this bowl, and I stuck it outside where the cat was at. I went back in, I went back to sleep. I got up about maybe 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and walked out, and the bowl was empty. And the cat paws are right there. The ranger came out, I think like an hour later, asked if we've seen any strange animal prints out. And I said, well, I saw a mountain lion out here last night, early this morning. He said, what'd you do? I said, I walked outside in my skivvies and my slippers, and we were just sitting there staring at each other. I took one step forward to it, and it ran off. And he said, well, that's weird. I've never heard of a cat doing that before. And he said, were you afraid? I said, no. Why should I be? He said, well, that's the reason why it took off is because you didn't show no fear. I said, oh, I didn't think about it that way. And he said, the other reason he took off is because you towered over him at 7'4". And then I thought, well, maybe that could be it. I don't know. But the cat never once attacked me at all. Now, here's another true story. If my mother was alive, she'd tell you this for a fact. I was 3 years old. Have you ever been to Oregon, Chris?
Is that one still on?
Chris, you there? Did you fall asleep?
No.
Have you ever been to Oregon? Have you ever been to Oregon?
Close, Washington.
Okay, me and my family went camping to this place in Oregon. It was called Crater Lake. Don't know if you ever heard of it or not.
I have.
And there's this big old giant crater with an island sitting out in the middle of it. According to legend, this volcano blew up. The island in the middle went all the way up into the air. It flipped over and it plugged up the crater and blocked off the, I guess, where the molten lava and all this stuff came out of. And the whole basin just filled up with water. Well, anyhow, I'm outside. This is back during the 1970s or something like that. We're camping outside next to Crater Lake. They got a campground and all this other stuff there. And I'm outside playing with a bear. A full-size brown bear. My mother comes outside of the trailer. She looks at me out there petting the bear, calling it a doggy and all this other stuff. My mother freaks out, runs up to me, grabs me from this bear, runs into the trailer, and slams the trailer door shut. And the bear never once harmed me at all. I've got this weird thing with I can't explain it. I really can't. I've had deer up in Shasta County come down to me at the dam, and they come right up to me, and I can feed them oatmeal and pet them and stuff like that. I don't know what it is. I could never figure it out. I've never had a problem with nature, ever. When I went, like I told you last week, when I went hunting with a friend of mine, he shot his first buck. I tried picking up a rifle and shooting a buck. I couldn't do it. I just dropped the gun and walked away. There's no way in hell I could shoot an animal. I just can't do it.
Yeah, likewise. I can't hunt anymore. I had to give it up. I did. Yeah. But when I went to the cabin, I couldn't do it anymore.
I do the same thing with turkeys. Turkeys up in Reagan, we have what they call wild turkeys. I'll be sitting in a parking lot waiting for a doctor or whatever, and they have these wild turkeys coming through a doctor's parking lot, and I'm out there, just on my car eating a granola bar or something like that, and had a turkey come up to me and I held my hand down, the turkey just ate the granola bar right out of my hand. I'm like, wow. When I was living in Palo Verde, California, back in 2017, I used to have wild ducks come up to me out of the pond and just eat right out of my hands.
Oh, okay.
It feels like
very uncommon.
Huh?
Go ahead.
What? Oh, sorry. You guys talk?
No, go ahead.
It feels like that's a scary situation, too. But it feels like everyone else is falling asleep.
Huh. What?
Like, it feels like people are going to fall asleep.
Who?
On the line.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty, man. I have to get up tomorrow morning, and I have a charter at 7 a.m. So I got to get up,
Well, that's like, what was it, last week? Anthony muted his phone. Me and Chris were thinking, wait a minute, Anthony's falling asleep. First it's Chris, now it's Anthony. And we're sitting there, are you online? Are you on? And Anthony came back on and said, oh, sorry, I accidentally pushed the mute button on the phone.
Yeah.
Wow, guys. You silly noodles.
Yep, it happens.
And half the time I do that too.
Oh, God. It's awful. Last night I went to bed at 7:30. It's just unreal. I'm trying to watch a basketball game. I can't even watch a basketball game. But I'm up tonight. And it's funny you say that, because when I go camping out in the wilderness, man, I sleep great and I can stay up late. I feel great. I feel the best when I'm out in the woods.
And you notice when you're out in the woods, you can breathe better too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
When you're inside of a house, your nose plugs up, everything else. But when you're out in the wilderness, You can breathe better. Your senses are clear. There's just something weird about it. You can go out, you can camp, you feel better about yourself. When you walk barefooted on the ground, you feel healthy. When you come back to the city, you're always feeling sluggish and poor. It just doesn't make any sense.
You're right.
When I was a kid growing up, I used to get in my bedroom. My mom and dad go to sleep in their bedroom. This is up in Reading. And when they were in bed asleep, I'd crack the window and I could feel that nice cool air come in. And I could sleep, my nose would unplug, and I could sleep like a baby. About a couple hours later, my dad would come in, notice the window was open. He'd shut the window while I'm asleep, and I knew he was doing it because when he walked out of the room and went back to bed, I snuck up and I opened the window again. I went right back to sleep.
Hey, that's just like my mom. She'll be like, close the window. I don't want to. I need some air. You're cooking me. It's cold. I need air. Go outside. No. I want air to come in.
Right. I like fresh air.
I do too. It's better than being cooped in a house and smelling all that dust and stuff. That's why when I'm asleep at night, I turn on my AC just so I can get that nice cool air coming in.
Yeah.
Now, is the temperature where you are now getting to a point where it's all right to go outside? It's cooling or no?
It's cool outside now. I mean,
Good.
It's not hot anymore. Matter of fact, I can put my hand out the window and it's nice and cool outside. Thank God of that.
Beautiful. Yeah, that must be awful. Awful.
Yeah, I can't handle this heat. Like I said, I got to move the hell out of here. I got to go back up to the mountains where I belong.
Yeah, go back to Mount Shasta.
Away from civilization.
Yes.
How far will you be from Mount Shasta?
How far would I be from Mount Shasta?
Yeah, you gonna go that far?
Mount Shasta, you can see almost 20 miles away. That's how big the mountain is.
And that's where you're gonna go back to?
Yeah.
Shasta County?
Yeah. I'm gonna go back either Shasta County or I'll move up to Siskiyou County because Siskiyou County has the cheapest land in all of California. I can buy 5 acres of land for $10,000. That's dirt cheap.
It is.
I can buy 2 acres for $5,000.
Yeah, but with the governor that you got, my goodness, man, you're probably going to be paying through the nose for taxes.
Actually, if you don't build a house on it, taxes are anywhere between, you gotta believe this, anywhere between $25 and $50 a year. See, the way California works is if you dig a hole in the ground, you have to pay taxes more than $300 or $400 a year. But if you set something on the ground without digging a hole, it's only $25 to $50 a year. Plus, it's got a lot to do with the structure. If it's a tiny home, like, what is it, 150 feet by 150 feet by so much feet high, it's like maybe $100 a year. Anything bigger than that, you got to pay out the nose every year for taxes. Now, when Chris Contreras bought a house up in Kern County, up in Lake, he was paying $367 a year just on taxes alone. That's cheap. And his place was on half an acre of land.
Yeah. The house I lost in divorce, and taxes weren't even $1,000 a year.
Wow.
It was like 8 or 9.
Wow. That's quite a bit. But it has a lot to do with the structure of the house, how many feet wide, how many feet long, and how many feet high. If it's like a tiny house, you ain't got nothing to worry about it because your taxes are very low. But if you dig a hole in the ground and you put your structure in the ground like cement and everything or the rebar and stuff, then you have to pay out the nose with taxes, anywhere between $4,000 to $1,000 a year. So basically, if you got something like a mobile home, you can sit on the land. You don't have to worry about it because you're not digging a hole. But once you dig a hole in the ground, that's when you got to start paying the taxes.
Really?
Yep, I've checked all this out. I've done all my research on this, everything. When you dig sewer lines, or you dig what they call a leach line or water lines, you have to pay taxes.
When are you thinking about moving there?
Hopefully before this year's up, because I'm trying to save money back to get the hell out of here. Buy me an old pickup truck or something, or get me a flatbed trailer to pull behind the Jeep so I can head back up north. I'm not going to stay in this desert no more. I'm sick of it.
Gotcha.
New Hampshire.
Yeah. New Hampshire.
She's hidden.
New Hampshire's near the East Coast, and somebody is snoring.
Oh, poor Chris.
He's out. It's only 11 here.
Well, yeah, he's out. Over there.
Yep, he's out like a light. Or out like
he snores like a baby. He used to get tucked in like one.
Yep, here we go. Anyhow, it's that time of hour again, so thanks everybody for listening. And one more time to Jessica Weaver, model, fashion model, and supermodel. I'm sorry for the message I sent you 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It wasn't supposed to say that. That stupid AI screwed me over. Again, I really apologize.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Gentle Giant, and this is the Bigfoot Radio for this week. And we would like you all to tune in next week for some more Bigfoot Radio. And all of us on the Bigfoot Radio Network, we would also like to thank our guests for joining in on the discussion tonight on this talk show. And we would also like to thank you, our listeners, for sharing our adventures with us. Join us again next Friday evening for another exciting hour of Bigfoot Radio with the Bigfoot research teams from across the country. And we would also especially like to thank our listeners. Until then, this is the Gentle Giant saying good night, be good, be safe, and we will see you here again next week. Until then, keep Bigfoot live and keep Bigfooting. See you all again next week. Bye-bye, and have a nice night.
Just like a man, while keeping out of sight. What he is may be unknown, but there's one thing I know. He's the keeper of the mountain. All he wants is just left alone.